All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. This is going to be a video asking the question on who are the real Israelites, right? Who are the real Israelites, man? That's the question for this lesson. Who are the real Israelites, right? And if you've been paying attention to the earth, right, and been paying attention to what's going on the earth, man, you'll be aware, especially if you're a person that says that you're about the Bible, you'll be aware that there's two different groups of people that are making the claim at being the chosen nation, right? One of the people that are claiming to be the chosen people, right, have got a link to 1948, and you have to say it that way, right? One of the group of people, if you say anything about them on the internet, right, you're gonna get your things taken down. You're gonna get your channel removed, right? If you've got a business, you're gonna get your business more than likely taken down. If you've got any contracts with them, you're gonna get that taken down. And you'd have to ask yourself, how can it be that these people that are chosen, if they've got so much power, yet their kingdom has not been established according to biblical prophecy, right? Then you've got another group of people that are claiming to be the chosen, right? That go by the names of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, according to what people call them on the earth, right? They say that the Atlantic slave trade was part of biblical prophecy because it was the curses that they went under if they didn't do the things that Yahweh told them to do, right? And they are the only people on the earth that apply Deuteronomy the 28th chapter to themselves, right? And say, these are the curses that we're under, that we said we was going to be under, and here's how that curse affects us. Nobody else on the earth, nobody, and I repeat again, nobody else on the earth does that. Nobody else on the earth applies Deuteronomy the 28th chapter to themselves. And when you go to Deuteronomy the 30th chapter and the first verse, it says that if you know what, let me read that verse. Let me read it. Because nobody else on the earth does this. Yet people say we're not the chosen. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all nations, whither Yahweh thy power hath driven thee. So it says that he was going to go through the blessing and the curse, and he was going to mention it in every single nation that you've been scattered. Now, who can you see doing that? Who can you see doing that, man? Who can you see saying we're cursed? That's the reason why this stuff's happening to us. Nobody else says that. Even those other people that have got a link to 1948, right? And that I've got a discrepancy with people in Germany, right? I have to say it that way. Even those people don't say that what happened to them in that time, if you're to believe that happened, they don't even say that was a curse. They won't say that. They won't say that was a curse because we were sinning. They won't say that. They won't say that, man. Then when you go to Isaiah the 53rd chapter, the people that are 1948, they say that is the forbidden chapter. But we say, the Hebrew Israelites, we say that is biblical, that is the prophecy of the Messiah being prophesied in the Old Testament. That's what we say. Right? Now, let's go to some more things. Man, because like identity theft is a big problem, right? And what's happening on earth is identity theft, right? When a group of people are in slavery and in captivity, during that time we was in slavery and captivity, another group of people came by and stole our nationality. They beat our nationality out of us and made a new one, right? They made black, right? But then while they was making sure we get called black, making sure that we get called Latinos, making sure that we get called Red Indians, right? And making sure that we don't say what we are, and making it damn near illegal to say what we are. While they was doing that, they made sure to call themselves our nationality, right? And to get rid of the nationality that they are. Because there's another nationality that nobody else wants to claim on the earth. If salvation's for everybody, who's prepared to call themselves an Edomite? Who's brave enough to say that they're an Edomite and they're still going to receive salvation because Deuteronomy 23 and verse 7 says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite? Who's prepared to do that? Nobody. You won't find nobody on this earth that is prepared to say that they are Edomite, they won't do it. Nobody wants to claim that, man. And why is that? Why is it that nobody's claiming that nationality? Is there something wrong with it? Must be, right? There must be. Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Now, tents of Kedar is a particular tent that the Ishmaelites had that is pitch black. I've looked it up before. If you go on the internet and type in tents of Kedar, you will see that the tents of Kedar are black, pitch black, man. Right? So Solomon's saying, I am very, very dark-skinned, but I'm still beautiful. Right? O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept. So he's clearly saying that he's dark-skinned, man. Right? He's clearly saying that, but people don't want to acknowledge that. But then when you go, let's go further, man. Right? Because you've got also those people that are linked to 1948, man. Right? They don't even believe that the Messiah's came yet. They still think that they're still waiting for him to come, man. So how they're 2,000 years back in time in prophecy by that logic then? They're still 2,000 years back, and they also say that there's never been a time that they didn't know that they was the chosen in their history. They still say that. But according to biblical prophecy, right, according to Psalms 83, that the nations were going to try and make it in, so Israel was going to be no more remembrance. According to Jeremiah 17 and 4, he was going to discontinue from the heritage that we was given. And then in every single place that it was said, we're not the people, there it's going to be said that we are the children of the living God. But in every single place that he said that we're not the people, the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans that are calling themselves Israelites, those other people are just acknowledging that they are those people. So it can't be talking about them, can it? Two nations are fighting to be one nation, right? And they're making a claim that they're that nation. Only one of those groups are fulfilling prophecies. Only one of them groups are seeing an uprising of them that's growing. Only one of them groups are speaking about the Bible, that you can be seeing them doing it on the highways and the hedges. The other group is not doing that. The other group's hidden in what they're doing. They hide in buildings, man. The other group do. The other group don't be really even doing things on the internet to be letting it be known what they're going through. They don't do that, man. They're too busy running businesses. They're too busy running Hollywood, man, to have time to be doing that. They're too busy not following God's laws. But if they're the chosen, they should be following them. And if they don't follow them, then they're supposed to receive the curse that the scriptures are talking about. But let me read this, Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, meaning his hair on his head was of a wool texture, and it was white. Simple as that. And his eyes was a flame of fire. Now there's other scriptures in the Bible that you can go to that said that that there was going to be a person that was going to come from the tribe of Judah, that's eyes were going to be red with wine. And what people get stupid with about when they say, like, well, it says his hairs were white like wool. It says like wool, so it's not literally wool, is it? Well, of course it's not literally wool, because humans do not produce wool. Humans grow hair. But if you had to pick an animal that had so-called black man's hair texture is like, it would be wool. If you had to pick an animal, it wouldn't be dog. It would be wool hair. It wouldn't be horse. It would be a sheep's hair, wool texture. When you go to a barber shop and you look at the hair that's getting cut off and you see it on the floor, it's a wool texture. When you used to see in the 70s with the disco type era, right? You used to see these so-called black people that had woolly hair afros. The Jackson 5, Michael Jackson had a big woolly hair afro, man. He had that. Muhammad Ali had a small little mini fro. that was of a wool texture. George Foreman had it. When Floyd Mayweather grew his hair out, he had it. And you can't see that hair texture among anybody else that calls himself any other race, man, any other group of people. You can't see that. That's a hair texture that's clearly been given to so-called black people. But people, when it gets to that kind of stuff, they were prepared to lie. Because they don't want us to have nothing, man. This world don't want us to have nothing. They've tried to say that we're every single thing under the sun, right? And they'll allow us to say that we're every single thing under the sun. But when we say that we're the Israelites, then it becomes a problem. Yet you've got people in this world that can claim to be all other types of things. You can claim to be a damn dog in this world, and people will be like, "Yep, that's all right, that's fine." You can claim to be another gender in this world, and people will be like, "Yep, that's cool, leave him alone." But then we can't change. We can't say that we're the Israelites. We can't say that. What's the problem? But we already know what the problem is, man. Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. His feet was like fine brass that had been burnt in the furnace. So what are these people talking about, man? And the thing that's annoying with this, yeah, is that people have read that and have heard it, but then they've said it don't matter. So in doing that, they're rejecting the Lord because they're trying to say, well, I'm not going to say what he really looks like because I don't want to offend other people that might be racist. But if them people are racist and they don't care about the Lord, if he looks like one color, then them people don't deserve the scriptures, man. Because what you can definitely say about the Negro, Latino, and the Native American is that we believed in the Bible more than anybody else before we knew that he was a so-called black man. We believed before we knew the color of the Lord. We was the main believers back then, man. We was the main people following the Bible back then. We was the main people that was believing the watered down doctrine. We was the main people believing that God loves everybody stuff. We was the main people believing that. We was the main people believing in the scriptures where it says that you have to love your enemy. We was the main people that was believing that means even of the other nations, not just the enemy of your own people. We was the main people believing and following that, man. So we even showed that we was the main believers in that fake doctrine. And now when it comes to the real doctrine, we're showing ourselves to be the real believers of this too. So these people can't say nothing against us, man. We've always been showing ourselves that we're about the scriptures. We've always been showing that we're about the Lord and we're about the Bible, man. We've always been showing that. Always. Right? And let me get this, because what people are trying to do now by where they got a problem with us calling ourselves Israelites isn't nothing new. Because they did it in the past, man. They did it in the past. They tried to make us want to follow after heathen ways, right? This is 2 Maccabees, the second book of Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the law of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. Isn't that what people are trying to tell us to do now? The law's done away with. When we're saying that we're supposed to follow the commandments, even though we're not following them all 100%, we're still pushing that energy out there that you're supposed to follow it, right? But people have got a problem with that. They got a problem with that, man. And then they try and say, oh, well, it says that you have to kill this and kill that. Well, obviously we can't follow that bit, can we? Because if we follow that bit in this world, right, there's a group of people in this world right now that have got more power than us that will arrest us for that. So obviously we're not following that part. And there's other parts that you have to follow where you need more money to be able to follow those parts properly. So obviously we can't follow those parts too. There's other parts that you have to follow that you need land to be able to follow that stuff. But just because you can't follow all of those parts, that doesn't mean that you can't follow the part in the Bible where it says, don't eat shellfish. Or that you can't follow the part in the Bible that says, don't eat pigs. Or that you can't follow the part in the Bible as a woman that says that you're supposed to wear modest apparel. Or that you're supposed to have your head covered. Or that you're supposed to somewhat separate yourself from your husband during the times of your menstrual cycle. And it doesn't mean that we can't follow as men the part in the Bible that says to not covet after your neighbor's wife. And it doesn't mean that we can't follow the part in the Bible that says don't get tattoos. And it doesn't mean that we can't follow the part in the Bible that says to grow a beard on your face. But you've got all these people out there that want to try and use excuses for why they eat pork and do all these other things because, oh, yeah, but you ain't got a lamb that's over 1 year old. Well, of course I ain't got a lamb that's over 1 year old, but I got a beard on my face though, because that's one of the laws that I can easily keep. It takes more effort to cut a beard off than it does to grow one. And I'll say that again. It takes more effort to cut a beard off than it does to grow one. And you've got a lot of these people though that they're fake with it because they're only trying to grow the beard now because they don't want us to say to them, where's your beard? That's what they're trying to come with. You got a lot of people that are fake with it. Verse 2, the second book of Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus, that in Gazarim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwell in the place. The coming of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. So they was bringing into wicked things into the Israelites' temples, man. Right? That's what they was doing. Carrying on. Verse 5. The altar also was defiled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So they were stopping us from keeping things such as the Day of Atonement, right? They were stopping us from keeping the Sabbaths, right, in the times past, right? And they were saying that you're not able to profess yourself to be a Jew. They were saying, don't call yourself what you are. That's what they were saying. They were saying, don't talk about you from no tribe of Benjamin. Don't mention that you're from the tribe of Levi. Don't mention that you're from the tribe of Judah. And don't mention that you're an Israelite. Don't mention nothing about what you've been through. Don't talk about it. That's what they were saying. They were saying, don't speak about the times of Moses. They was trying to tell, don't follow the Passover. Don't follow the commandments. Don't not eat pork because it's unclean. Eat it. That's what they was trying to do, man. They were saying, eat these things. They were saying, everything's lawful. Everything's allowed now. That's what they was coming with. They were saying, do what you want to do. The law, they was pretty much saying, the law is done away with, just like how people are saying now, man. They was pretty much saying what they say now, where there's no chosen people no more, where all just everyone. Yet the Bible says that everybody on the earth came from one of the sons of Noah. And let me get it. But when you listen to these people talk, and that's the reason why this world is as dysfunctional as it is, man. Because these people are not following after God's laws. And then they're always complaining about how evil the world is. But the world's going to remain evil until the Israelites return to their power and push the laws out, man. They'll be following it perfectly, and they'll be rebuking all the other nations that don't follow it when they're supposed to follow it, man. And they're going to be judging the other nations according to the law, which if those other people was the chosen and they're in the land, that's what they should be doing. That's what they should be doing. And isn't it interesting that they own, I've heard a brother say this, and it's a good point, man. Isn't it interesting that these other people own Hollywood, yet they don't want to make movies about their people? They don't want to make biblical movies. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a bit strange? There's beautiful stories in the Bible that he could do, that he could put the CGI on there, right? But they don't do that. And the reason why they don't do it is because they know it will wake up something in those people that it is for. They know that, man. They know that it will make people start reading the Bible more. And they don't want people to read the Bible. They in fact, think that the New Testament is BS. Those other people that are claiming to be the chosen. But the Hebrew Israelites, we think that the Torah's got wisdom in there and is the truth. We think that the Tanakh has got wisdom in there and is the truth. Right? We think that the Apocrypha is the truth. And we think that the New Testament is the truth. We think that the whole Bible, King James 16 and 1611 version, is the truth, man. But those other people don't think that. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 19. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So when people are saying that there's no this, there's no that, there's no more Israelites and all that, that's talking out their back end, man. Right? That's BS. There is still a chosen people. There is still a chosen nation. And anyone that's saying that they ain't, they're a liar. Yeah? Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 24. In fact, Jeremiah chapter 33 and verse 20. Thus saith Yahweh, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should be no day, and that there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that they should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. And as the host of heaven cannot be measured, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David, my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, considerest thou not what his people have spoken, saying, the two families which Yahweh have chosen, ye have even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that there should be no more a nation before them. Thus saith Yahweh, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinance of the heaven and the earth, then will I also cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. So how can you read that, right, and say that there's no more chosen? How can you get that from there? How is it that these people are trying to claim that there's no chosen nation no more? They're chatting S. They're talking gibberish, man. They're talking reckless. They're lying. They're liars, man. They're trying to usurp, let's use that word. They're trying to usurp the kingdom onto themselves, man. They're trying to be like, that's that, what's it called, man? Replacement theology, supersessionism, which is where they pretty much, anywhere that it says Israel, they've tried to Tipex that bit out and put Gentile. Or anywhere that it says something for the Israelites, they've tried to Tipex that bit out and say everybody on earth. And yet, but the thing is, they can say that all they want, because Yahweh knows what it's supposed to be. And these are Yahweh's prophecies that he said he's going to perform. And the Israelites are still waiting on the salvation to occur that's greater than the salvation that they received in Egypt. And that has not happened yet. It's getting ready to happen, man. And I'm going to read it. Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. So has this salvation happened yet? If you was to ask the two groups of people that I mentioned in the beginning of this lesson, if you was to ask the two groups of people that claim to be the chosen nation, right? Both nations, both of those groups, right? Both of those groups would say, nah, this ain't happened yet. And if one of the groups would say otherwise, right? Well, then they're liars if they say that it's happened yet. Because why is it then that the still main salvation that they speak about is Egypt, which didn't happen to them, by the way. That happened to us, man. Moses got mistaken for an Egyptian. If I was to go to Egypt, right, I'm more likely to get mistaken for an ancient Egyptian than what these other people are going to be. I'm more likely going to blend in with that landmass than they are, right? I'm the one that's going to probably be called brother if I go over there, because they're just going to assume that because we're the same skin tone, that we're the same people. I'm going to be the one to talk to like that, man, not them. And I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.